Hello and welcome back to my channel where I like to have fun with all things beauty while being critical about what I accept into my collection. Today is a top shelf holiday edition. So that's when I go over all of my absolute favorite makeup of the moment, but it's the special holiday edition since I am in the middle of packing for the holidays and I had no real choice but to think about what makeup I wanted to wear for the holidays significantly ahead of time because today is December 15th. It's a Monday and we're not leaving until the 21st, but I've actually decided to start packing since my week is kind of overwhelmingly full. And genuinely, this is one of the more fun things to even focus on right now. As I'm sure all of you are well aware of, December, especially towards the end of December, gets hairy for most people. I don't know what it is, but it feels like there's always the stress that I know to expect every year, the things that kind of make sense, getting presents, traveling, that kind of thing. But then on top of that, there always seems to be bills coming out of the woodwork that I wasn't expecting, medical issues, house stuff. It feels like genuinely it's always something and it just makes the chaos even more chaotic. I decided this evening, rather than just spin my wheels, a lot of it stuff that I can't even control, I was gonna start packing and I was gonna start with my favorite, which is the makeup. My other reason for doing this today is because I really wanted to end the year with just a fun, lighthearted, easygoing video that wasn't going to be too difficult to edit, so I knew I could get it out in time, theme appropriate. It's an excuse for me to have an opportunity to thank everybody for being here, and it's a nice send-off until next year when hopefully I'll be able to make some upgrades to this channel. I know that I'm getting a microphone as a gift, and hopefully that will help things. I'm also going to try to change up the lighting situation and just experiment a little bit more and hopefully get a little bit better at this in general. I have technically been on YouTube for 2 years, but I took a very long hiatus when my dog got sick, and we are still dealing with that, but she is in a more manageable place, so I do have a little bit of time to spend here on YouTube, but your time is very valuable. I'm highly aware of that, so I definitely want to put out the best content to my ability, and I have some plans and ideas on how to do that, which I am very much looking forward to. But anyway, if it's your first time here, who the heck am I? I'm just a girl on the internet who likes makeup. I started getting really into makeup a little bit later in life, so I was probably 37, 38, somewhere around there, when I really decided that I wasn't happy with what I was doing. Prior to that, I was buying all of my makeup at CVS. It was not terrible by any means, but it was not great either. So I started, as most people do, with YouTube. I started watching tutorials and reviews, probably mostly reviews. I could probably still work on some of my technique, but I don't know. There was just something about it that I fell in love. I missed the whole 2016 era on here. I've never followed Jaclyn Hill or Tati or any of those OG players, which I'm kind of happy about because I tend to gravitate a lot more towards people who I can really relate to, and I feel really lucky in being able to do that here on YouTube and over on Instagram. I have real friends now through this, and as I'm sure you know, it's hard enough as an adult to find time for hobbies, find things that you really enjoy, and make friends. Outside of work and school, it's really hard to organically make friends with people. And yes, it's mostly virtual, but it is still real. These are still genuinely people that I care about, and I know that they care about me. So I love my little corner of the beauty community, and I love playing with makeup as an artistic outlet. Some other things about me is I am 41. I'm gonna be 42 in January, which is just absolutely insane. Like, that is a grown-up number, and I'm not a grown-up. So I'm not sure how we got here, but I do have some comfort in knowing that a lot of millennials tend to feel like that. So at least I'm not alone. So I'm 41. I have very dry skin because I also have adult acne, and I'm on really high strength tretinoin for that. Not that I didn't already have dry skin. I pretty much my whole life have had drier skin, but since being on that, my skin is drier than I even thought possible. It's also sensitive as a result of that. So I have dry, sensitive, mature skin. So most of my makeup picks are going to be geared toward glowy skin. That doesn't matter for something like eyeshadow, for example, but my foundations especially is going to be very influenced by my preferences there. So with that out of the way, let's get into my absolute favorite, most sparkly, impactful, long wear holiday glam of 2025. Up first, primer. So I just talked about this in my best of video, and you know, it's not convenient to travel travel with by any means. Luckily and unluckily, we're driving. We have 2 dogs, so we drive basically from Miami to New York. It's like 22 hours. We're completely insane, but we do get to pack our car, so I don't have to worry too much about the weight of this, although it is heavy. So I thought I would mention an alternative, which is the Bioma Barrier Repair. That moisturizer actually has a similar finish to this. It's kind of crazy and I do really like it, but this one is just a little bit more glowy, so it's what I'm gonna want to reach for on the holiday. Next up, foundation. So this is going to be more of a game day decision based on how my skin is feeling that day. If my skin is behaving well and looking nice, I'm gonna reach for my Chanel #1. Although it is not technically a long wear foundation by any means, it does dry down really nicely and it lasts all day. In my personal experience, I've never had an issue with longevity. It has a beautiful finish. It's what's on my face today, and I really love it. If I am not having a good skin day though, if I get my period, if I have an eczema flare, basically if anything is really going on, I'm gonna need both a little bit extra coverage and a little bit more hydration. So in that case, I'm gonna reach for my NARS Light Reflecting. Is it extra traveling with 2 different foundations? It is, but I often do because of my particular skin issues. I guess if I was forced to only bring one in the winter time, especially going to a cold climate, it might be safer to just bring my NARS because I know it's pretty much gonna look nice no matter what. And I'm gonna switch between both throughout the trip, but on the actual holiday where I'm out and about, I do like to have the option of wearing something just a little bit more perfecting. So those are my foundations. For concealer, again, this is not new, but my favorite concealer is the CeraCreole. Nothing works better than this. So even though I have concealers that are almost just as good, it's the best of the best that wins its spot in my suitcase. My contour of choice is Westman Atelier Biscuit. My favorite bronzer is Gucci in 01. And for blush, I'm probably gonna go with my most long-wearing blush, which is the YSL Make Me Blush. And I have it in shade 80 Fig Fantasy. That's what's on my cheeks today. And it's just gorgeous. It's not super dewy, but it's not a flat matte. What puts this above my other favorite blushes, like I think last year I wore the Patrick Ta in Not Too Much, which is also really beautiful. And I'm definitely gonna pack my Rhode Sleepy Girl. I can't really rely on either of these to last a really long time. This though, absolutely will, and it's quickly becoming my new favorite blush. My favorite highlighter for the holidays always was Pat McGrath. Her special edition Baked Gelays, which are like hard to get because they discontinue them, which is very annoying, but those were always my favorite because they were the most impactful. Did some of them have visible glitter? Yeah, but it's the holidays. If there's one thing I want on a holiday, it's glitter. I mean, for me, I'm kind of like that all year, so I'd be full of it if I sit here and tell you that a goal of mine on a daily basis isn't highlighter that you can see from space, but I'm especially not playing around on those days. However, this year I've decided to talk about one that you can actually get, which is actually my new favorite highlighter. So this is the Hindash Doll Dynasty, and this is like a pink champagne, but I know there are other colors depending on your undertones, but I just love it. I love the formula. There's no visible glitter, so if that's something you hate, you don't have to worry about that with this. It doesn't intensify texture. It stays put, and I genuinely think a lot of people would really like this formula. For powder, under my eyes, I'm definitely going to stick with my Hourglass because I think this is the kindest one that I have for dry skin. I like to use it in dim light because it's not too brightening. I mean, the one thing I don't want to do is add any extra attention to my under eye area at all. That's why I don't really love brightening concealers, brightening powders. I like a little bit of brightening, like in the center of my face. That can look nice for sure, but I don't like to go too hard in that direction, and I know a lot of the powders I have can kind of do that. Dim light doesn't. Dim light helps me achieve my goal, which is to make them a little bit more invisible. So I love this for around my eyes. I can also use it all over my face, which is probably what I'm gonna do, but just in case for some reason I'm looking like a grease ball, I'm also going to pack my mini of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. I just have this in Pound Cake. I think this is a good all over face powder. I wish I could get my hands hands on my old favorite powder, which was the loose powder from Givenchy. Rest in peace. I absolutely loved that stuff. I tried the new one, don't like it. I tried the pressed version, don't love that either. So in the meantime, I've been using this and I've been getting on pretty well. Obviously, I can't use too much of this. Like, I couldn't bake with this. That sounds terrifying, but I mean, I couldn't bake with any powder. So out of all of the loose powders that I've tried, I think this may not be the best. It's too new in my collection, but it's definitely not worse than the majority that I already own. Plus, it's a mini, so this is going in the suitcase. Finally, the best part, we're talking about eyeshadow. I actually went through a few looks for this because the first look I did, I really did like. I used my Glam Timeless Tones palette, and I had a very pretty look at the end of it. These browns are really beautiful, and I topped it off with this shimmer here and this white in the inner corner, and it was genuinely beautiful. I like to always bring some palette from Glam when I travel because their shimmer formula is second to none. However, there was just something about it wasn't really ringing true to what I was hoping to achieve, which was a little bit more champagne gold than white. So I did wash my face. I still may bring this palette because, like I said, I love it, but I think I like the eye look that I ended up with a little bit better. So to get this look, I actually went a little bit further back in my collection to an old favorite that doesn't get the love it deserves anymore, but it is still one of my absolute favorite palettes in my entire collection, and that is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. So I have this in light, and as you can see, this is pretty banged up. I have traveled a lot with this palette. I can use this for eyes and cheeks, no problem. The highlight and blush in this are gorgeous. They're not what I'm going to choose if I have options, but if I need to pack light, every single pan in this palette is a home run for me. So for my second attempt, I went in with all of these shades, obviously focusing mostly on my favorite, this really stunning champagne shimmer all over the lid. But to be fair, when I was finished, I didn't quite feel done, so I went on top of that with my Patrick Ta Duo. So this is one of the newer ones. This is in Your Dreams, and it's absolutely stunning. I have definitely gone in before alone with no other shimmers underneath, just like a matte base, and it's absolutely stunning. But I do think it was amplified going on top of the Natasha Denona shimmer. I think it made it more special, and if you like sparkly champagne shimmers, I don't think you would be disappointed in either of these palettes. My holiday look last year was the Natasha Denona I Need a New palette, and I added some Glaminatrix shimmers on top of that, which was stunning too. I'm not really sure which is more blinding, but for that reason, I thought I would mention both of these brands. But I'm really happy with how this came out, and I look forward to wearing this look probably multiple times over the holidays because we'll be gone for at least a few weeks. I'm also packing my Glaminatrix Merry Chrissy palette. Even though it's not my preference to go fully colorful, I'm more of a sparkle chaser. I do like to play around with color in the days leading up and after the holidays. So that's coming with me. I'm also going to be packing the Nomad Christmas palette because this is gorgeous as well. I feel like these shades in particular are just really, really beautiful. And it is more classic red and green, but the iridescent shimmers add a little bit of a twist. So that's coming with as well. I wanted to quickly mention an eye look alternative to the sparkle seen from space that I'm always aiming for, but is still an absolutely gorgeous look. These Armani, or they're not the only ones that make really nice liquid shadows like this, but the 67S and the 32S, S stands for sparkle in these. These are gorgeous. And these can give you something similar, but a little bit more elegant. You know, it's what I have the champagne one on my eyes today, and it's an absolutely beautiful look. So I did want to quickly give these a shout out. I also know they were popular, so if you bought these and forgot about them, the holidays might be the perfect time to pull them back. Another thing I wanted to mention with these liquid shadows, and I actually learned this with the Pat McGrath liquid shadows, but it works on all of them, or all the ones that I've tried, is when they dry down. So they dry down initially like this. But if you wait until they're fully dry and sort of tap or rub a little bit with your finger, you can actually make them look even more sparkly. So it sort of taps some of the sparkle to the top, I guess is how I would explain it. And you can do it really gently, like on your eyes like that. And I think personally, I do think it makes a little bit of a difference. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case you use a lot of liquid shadows. If you do, you probably have figured this out on your own. But just in case, that's my little trick that I found that, makes me like these. Hopping in after the fact because I actually forgot to talk about New Year's specifically, which I definitely go more silver white for New Year's. And my favorite palette for that is actually Natasha Denona Xenon. Clearly, as you can see, you don't need this palette to achieve the looks in here. This was just one that wound up being a sleeper hit for me because I got it not thinking I would like it at all. I never use like white eyeshadow, for example, ever, but I wound up falling in love with it, especially during the winter. So I wanted to bring this up in case you also have this palette and forgot about it like I did. Oh, and lips. I completely forgot to talk about lips. So today I started the look off with my Smashbox Be Legendary in Deep Mauve liner. Just a really easygoing color that I'm loving right now. And I went ahead and picked up the somewhat infamous Dior sequin lip, and I have mine in 420. I forget what they called this, but it's just a really easygoing pink. I don't think the lights are really doing it justice. I'll try to pop up a close-up. It is a really pretty color, but it is still a liquid matte lipstick. So when you don't add the gloss, it's a little drying. Worn alone, you can see the glitter a lot more. It's a lot more impactful without the gloss on top. It also stops being transfer proof once you add the gloss on top. So for that reason, my game plan with this was use the matte by itself, show up to wherever I'm going, take a picture, get a few compliments, mill about a little bit, and then immediately go on top with the gloss. This is what makes it bearable for me. With small dry lips, I really can't use liquid lipsticks, and I'm always going to prioritize comfort at the end of the day. So I will wear this as a duo, even though I've heard a lot of people criticize it. It definitely loses a lot of its specialness once you add the gloss, but I'm personally still glad it's there because I couldn't really get by wearing it for a full day otherwise. My choice for a reapplication lipstick, so after we eat and whatever, is going to be my Celine lipstick in shade 14. It's just a really easygoing color and formula, and I really like it. And then I am bringing my absolute favorite lip gloss for sparkle, the Patrick Ta in She's Expensive. I've just personally never really had a lip gloss that was sparkly, that performed as well as this. Plus, it's not sticky, it's not goopy, it doesn't do anything offensive. So this one is still my go-to. And I guess just for good measure, I'll throw in a setting spray option. I don't always feel like I need setting spray, but if I had to pick one, it would be the Hourglass Veil. I think this is overpriced for what it is, and I would never pay this if it was something that I used every day. Every day I'll go to an all-nighter, MAC Fix Plus, that kind of thing. But for special occasions, I'll let myself use this. It also lasts a pretty long time. In my experience, I think it's been a few years since I've had to repurchase, but that'll probably be a game day decision as well, depending on how things are feeling. But I really hope this was helpful. I know a lot of these are not different from my favorite everyday makeup, and I do apologize for the redundancy, but genuinely, this is just me being honest. I haven't really found a foundation that is special event and long wearing that have beat my current favorites. So I think the one thing here that really is long wear appropriate is the YSL. Everything else is kind of just my favorite makeup right now and the things that I plan on traveling with. I also wanted to take a moment and mention that I know the holiday season can be really difficult for a lot of people. And I know it can be financially difficult. It's always the time of year where I feel like I'm hemorrhaging money, and that can be really stressful. I really hope I never give people the feeling of FOMO or that they need any of the exact products that I'm talking about. So often you can get the same look or better with makeup that you already own. This was just me going through my collection and coming out with a look that I thought I'd want to do for the holidays, and that everybody can do that with their own collection with things that they've already bought. 2025 has been a really difficult year for a lot of people. I know myself personally, this has been one of the hardest years of my entire life, and it feels twofold. It's like the world at large feels like it's crumbling, but on top of that, things in my personal life being very difficult, it's been a lot. And I think a lot of us are like collectively collectively feeling this sense of trauma about this entire year, and that is so valid. That means you're a thinking, caring person to feel that way, and I hope we never lose that. I do use YouTube as an escape. Obviously, I'm on here talking about makeup, but I am still a person and I still understand that there are a lot of horrific things going on, and the best people I know in my life are definitely also affected by that. So I hope you know that you can always reach me on Instagram. I'm definitely available, even if you just want to vent. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're alone, because the internet can feel like a really cold place sometimes, and I don't want it to be that way if I can help it. So here's a toast to a new year. I don't expect everything to be fixed in a year, but I still believe that things can get better and there are still things to look forward to. So that's it from me in 2025. Between now and January, I'll try to post at least a couple shorts, that kind of thing, but this is definitely my last video for this year. Once again, I thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. I appreciate you. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. I hope that you're having a beautiful day or night wherever you are. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.